Hello there, my name's Gary Sims and this is Gary Explains. Now, following my review of the Steam Deck, as a casual gamer, not a hardcore gamer, I said I'd make another video about whether you can use the Steam Deck as a productivity tool. Can you get rid of your laptop and just rely on your Steam Deck? Gaming and productivity all combined into one device. Well, I've done lots of experimentation. I've tried using it in different situations, and I've discovered quite a few things. So if you want to find out more, please let me explain. Okay, so the reason why this is possible is that the Steam Deck is based on Linux, and you get, of course, the Steam OS when you're just running it normally to play the games, as I showed in my previous video. But there is a way to switch to a Linux desktop, and then you have access to all the kind of normal applications you would find on any Linux desktop, including, web browsers and office suites and so on. Now, first of all, the device can be used with just the touch screen as it is. You don't need a mouse, you don't need a keyboard. There's an on-screen keyboard that will pop up if you press Steam and the X button, and that will pop up just about anywhere. And rather than use a mouse, you can use your finger on the touch screen. However, the screen is quite small. Trying to be precise with the clicking with your finger can be quite hard. And of course, the keyboard itself is quite large, blocking up a lot of the screen. So for emergency use, if you suddenly find yourself, needing to, reboot a remote server that's got your website on it, and you need to quickly find a way that you can connect over the network, over the internet, and you've only got your Steam Deck with you, yes, it will work. You can actually do that. But as a productivity tool, if you're preparing for a business meeting, if you are doing studying, or if you are trying to do any kind of engineering without a mouse and a keyboard, it's basically pretty impossible. So really the first step to using it as a productivity tool is to connect a Bluetooth mouse and a Bluetooth keyboard. I've done that, it works pretty well. I did have a pretty cheap Bluetooth keyboard that did work on some devices, but it didn't work with the Steam Deck. I bought another one, much more better known. In fact, I bought a Samsung, keyboard, and that worked with the Steam Deck without any problem. You're also really going to need to have access to a monitor. Now, I'm using my LaPower HDMI monitor, which also accepts USB-C input. I've got a video reviewing that here on this channel. So using a portable monitor with a keyboard and a mouse, you can pack it all together and you can go on the road with your Steam Deck and actually achieve some productivity. Now, the first and most useful tool to use with the Steam Deck in terms of productivity is the built-in Chrome web browser that you actually get on the SteamOS side. You don't even need to switch over to your Linux desktop. You can actually use it in SteamOS. That means you get access, of course, to Gmail. You can do streaming services from Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. You can access kind of Office documentation like Google Docs or Office 365. Anything you can do in a web browser, you can do on your Steam Deck. And again, as I say, if you've got the keyboard, the mouse, and the external monitor, then you've got full access to all of those things. And it works for doing that. You didn't even have to touch anything to do with Linux. You just go straight into the web browser, and it's a pretty good experience. Now, if you do want to do more, you can switch into the Linux desktop mode. You go to the power menu inside of SteamOS, and then there's a switch to desktop option. And once you switch that, you get a normal Linux desktop. This actually is KDE based on Arch Linux, by the way. And of course, you get access to all the things you'd want. If you want to download a media player, you can download VLC. If you want an office suite with spreadsheet and word processing presentation, you can download LibreOffice. And all these things are downloaded using the Discover app, which is there by default. You also get default access to Firefox, and then you've got a terminal and a file browser, all the settings, of course, everything you'd expect from a simple desktop. And also you can get access to some development tools. For example, Visual Studio Code is available via the Discover app, and you can have that up and running on side of your Steam Deck. So good so far. However, there are some things that don't work. So for example, I downloaded and installed via the Discover app the Arduino IDE. As you know, here on this channel, do lots of stuff with microcontrollers. I also downloaded the Thonny IDE for Python to use with the Raspberry Pi Pico. Neither of those could see the devices through the built-in USB port. So it seems that if you need to access the USB port for any kind of communication, to an Arduino, to a Pico, that doesn't work. So for me, if I then wanted to go on the road and be able to program a Pico while I was away, I wouldn't be able to do that. And then actually it turns out that when you go into more development things, Python works okay, so Visual Studio Code with Python, absolutely brilliant. You can use that if you want to. But when I tried to use a C compiler or Rust or Golang or any of those things, they didn't work. At which point on a normal Linux box, you would then switch to using some kind of package manager to download and install those things. Now on Arch, that's Pacman. Now the thing is, the Steam Deck comes with a locked root filing system. And the reason for that is, first of all, they don't want things to go wrong, because really you are trying to use this as a Steam Deck to play your games, and they don't want you to break things. And secondly, when there are updates, that root filing system is updated kind of in a complete set, so that all the new files are updated and you get a new version of SteamOS, a new version of Linux running. So therefore, all the stuff that you install is done using Flatpak kind of in the user area, which doesn't get updated. Now it is possible to unlock the root filing system, and it is possible to try to install things using Pacman. However, I tried for several hours to get it all working there. You need to unlock it, you need to import some keys, you need to be able to actually install the packages that you want, and even trying all of that, I had no success. So I was not able to install Rust, for example, or Golang, or get the C compiler working. None of it worked at all, and I really decided that it's best to leave it as Valve has decided. You leave that locked. So if it's not available using the Discover app, basically, unless you're a very advanced user, it's not available at all. So if you're happy with VLC and Visual Studio Code and LibreOffice and all the other stuff you can download there, then that's great, it will work. If you want to do stuff that doesn't work and you need to resort to installing some packages from the command line, then that's basically a no-go. And that basically means for me that there was no way to write any code, can't do C, can't do C++, can't do Rust, and so on. So combining that with also not being able to use Arduino and not being able to use Thonny, it kind of limits its options for me in my personal use case. Now, if your use case is more just pure productivity, so you want access to an office suite, you want to watch videos, you want to access a web browser, then it will work absolutely fine for that. If you want more than that, if you want greater customization, if you want greater access to, of course, all the different things that are available for Linux, then it's not going to work. So what does that mean in real terms? Well, in real terms, to be useful, you're going to need to pack a HDMI monitor, a mouse and a keyboard, and your Steam Deck, which basically means that you kind of go with a whole bunch of stuff to try to just use the Steam Deck without using a laptop. I'm guessing that if you bought a laptop or you already have one, taking it together with your Steam Deck is the same as taking the mouse, keyboard and the portable monitor with you anyway. So in terms of volume, what you're packing, volume, what you're carrying, then really a laptop and a Steam Deck is just as good option as a Steam Deck and trying to add on all these other peripherals that you're going to need. So my advice is this: if you've got a Steam Deck and you need to do the occasional bit of productivity, you need to access something quickly and you've got nothing else there, the Steam Deck will do it. If you don't mind carrying around a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor, then you can use the Steam Deck again, but you're limited in what you can do. My recommendation is, if you are in that situation, just take a laptop with you, take your Steam Deck so you can have some downtime and play some games. And really, I think the bottom line is this: the Steam Deck is good as a Steam Deck, a device for playing Steam games on. When you go outside of that boundary, then you're into uncertain territory. Okay, that's it. My name is Gary Sims. This is Gary Explains. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you like these kind of videos, why not stick around by subscribing to the channel? Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Gary Explains, and I also have a monthly newsletter. Go over to garyexplains.com, type in your email address. You won't get any spam, but you will get that newsletter. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.